Today we are testing FreeDOS version 1.4 and I've got around 100 games that we will be testing to see if the latest version of FreeDOS can fully replace MS-DOS. Now I have reviewed all the major versions of FreeDOS on the channel. All the way back in 2016 we had a look at version 1.2 and it had lots of issues, especially with the CD-ROM driver. We had to wait another 6 years until 2022 to get FreeDOS version 1.3. That one was much better. It fixed many issues, especially the CD-ROM driver worked much better. And all in all, most games worked, but not all of them. Now we are in 2025. Version 1.4 has been released. We are back testing more games than ever, so let's dive straight in. The first game is Alien Breed from 1993 by Team 17. This is a conversion from the legendary Amiga game. Unfortunately, also the first game crashes under FreeDOS. We're getting corrupt graphics. It does work fine under MS-DOS 6.22, so whenever I had an issue with FreeDOS, I tested it again with MS-DOS to see if there's a difference. Next up is Battle Chess from 1988 by Interplay Productions. This game works fine. Battle Chess 2 Chinese Chess from 1990, also by Interplay Productions. This one works fine, now supporting various sound cards. Battle Isle from 1991 by Blue Byte. This is a nice turn-based strategy game, quite difficult in my opinion, well worth checking out, also running fine. Blake Stone Aliens of Gold from 1993. This is from Jam Productions and Apogee Software, a really nice FPS game with nice audio and looking good and smooth, running fine under FreeDOS. This is Catacomb 3D, 1991, by nothing other than id Software. Looks a little bit dated, not as nice looking as Wolfenstein 3D, but yeah, regardless, it's an important piece in gaming history. Descent from 1995, a late era DOS games, amazing 3D graphics by Parallax Software and also working fine without any issues. Disney's Aladdin from 1994, Virgin Interactive is behind this one. The game runs, but it's a really poor DOS conversion with a lot of screen tearing going on, so really they didn't put much love into this one. Doom from 1993 by id Software. Well, that game runs on anything from a computer to fridges and all sorts of devices, working fine under FreeDOS. The same goes for Doom 2 Hell on Earth 1994, also by id Software, no issues to report. This is Duke Nukem 3D by 3D Realms, released in 1996. A really awesome 3D shooter and also no issues to report. We have got an older Duke Nukem game. This is Duke Nukem 2 from 1993 by Apogee Software. And this one also works fine. An interesting game. It supports the ADPCM codec, which quite a few DOS sound cards don't support. We're using an original Sound Blaster card, so no problem for us. Epic from 1992. This is a game that's a little bit off the mainstream. Most people do know it, but haven't really played. It's by Digital Image Design, a 3D space shooter. I believe the better version is on the Amiga. It's got a few speed-sensitive issues on the PC and looking absolutely great. Epic Pinball from 1993 by Epic Mega Games. Well, this is a very popular game and also running without any issues. Eye of the Beholder 2, The Legend of Dark Moon from 1991 by Westwood Associates and SSI. Also looking great. It's a very famous and popular RPG game. You can download the ISO images of a live release, and there's also a legacy version. The live ISO worked fine for me. If it doesn't work on your older computer, try the legacy version. I'm a little bit disappointed with the setup. By default, if the storage device is empty, it will create a 2 GB partition. There is no graphical user interface, not even some basic options if you want to max out the hard drive or anything like that. And I think FreeDOS should look at some other programs like Super F-Disk or the Windows 98 Quick Install program. They all have some nice partition managers, even with graphical user interface and controlling with the mouse. So I think this is an aspect where FreeDOS should do a little bit better. Also, when it comes to choosing what individual components you want, you can only choose between basic and full. So there's no in between. You can't choose exactly which component you're interested in. So I think the installation process definitely needs an overhaul. It really hasn't changed much from the older releases. Frederick Paul's Gateway from 1992 by Legend Entertainment. This is a really fun adventure game. It has graphics, so it's not purely a text-based adventure games. Quite difficult, but the puzzles make sense. So it's not one of those adventure games where you can easily get frustrated. Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers from 1993 by Sierra. Another classic point-and-click adventure game, also working fine. Here we have Gods from 1991 by nothing other than the Bitmap Brothers. This is also a conversion from the home computers. Looks very good on the PC, also plays well, but it's a very difficult game. Heart of China from 1991 by Dynamics. This is a game I would see in a computer store back in the day, so I have fond memories of this one. I did complete it a while ago. It's definitely worth checking out. Heretic, released in 1994. Seems to be a collaboration with Raven Software and id Software. Well, another FPS game looking very good and no problems to report. Hexen Beyond Heretic from 1995, also by Raven Software and id Software, working fine. You have a choice with the music between the Redbook CD audio or MIDI, which is quite an interesting technical aspect. Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, 1992. This is a game really don't need any introduction, by LucasArts. One of the best, if not the best, point-and-click adventure games out there. Iron Man or Ivan Stewart's Super Off-Road from 1989 by Leland Corporation. This is a game our computing teacher let us play at the end of our lessons in primary school. I remember this one. And on the PC, yeah, there are not too many such arcade-type games, and still to this day, I like playing it. If you like this video, consider supporting me on Patreon. You get early access to unreleased videos, and we can chat on Discord. Chill of the Jungle, 1992 by Epic Mega Games. Everything working fine. I'm not too much into jump around games, so this is a game I don't play a lot, but it is quite popular. King's Quest V by Sierra, released in 1990. Another classic point-and-click adventure game. No issues to report. The same goes for King's Quest VI, released in 1992, also by Sierra. Lemmings is a real classic, released in 1991 by DMA Design and Psygnosis. Yeah, what can I say? This is a real classic, also works without any dramas. Lotus 3, The Ultimate Challenge, released in 1992 by Magnetic Fields and Gremlin Graphics. So this is interesting. The first two Lotus games never saw a release on the PC, so it's nice to see this one. And here we have Allure of the Temptress, released in 1992 by Revolution Software. This is a point-and-click adventure that's not too mainstream. I don't see many people talk about it, but it is fairly good. I still haven't beaten this one, so it's on my list. Let's talk about the hardware that I've used in this video to test the games. It's a Super Socket 7 motherboard from Gigabyte, the GA5AX. We've got a Pentium MMX running at 166 megahertz. This one is very flexible. We can use software to slow it down by toggling CPU caches. We have 16 megabytes of RAM. For storage, I'm using a ID to SD card adapter with a 16 gigabyte SD card. We have an ID optical drive, a Sound Blaster 64 or value, and you can see those cables coming out from the sound card. One is for the Redbook CD digital audio, and the other one is for the PC speaker, so that way I can capture all the options today. This is Mark III, an older title from 1987 by a company, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Loricil. Maybe it's a French company, I'm not quite sure. If you know any details about any of these games and you want to share something, leave your comments down below. Monkey Island 2, Lee Chuck's Revenge from 1991. released by LucasArts. Another really good point-and-click adventure game. Mortal Kombat, the first one released in 1993 by Midway and Probe Entertainment, working without any problems. And the same goes for Mortal Kombat 2, released in 1994, also by Midway Probe Entertainment. Police Quest 3, The Kindred, released in 1991 by Sierra Online, working fine. Same goes for Police Quest, the first title. This is In Pursuit of the Death Angel, the VGA re-release in 1992. I always liked testing Prince of Persia. It's one of the games I played quite a lot back in the day, released in 1990 by Broderbund. Prince of Persia 2, The Shadow and the Flame, released in 1993, also working fine, although I'm not a big fan of this one. It just doesn't feel the same as the first title. Raptor Call of the Shadows, released in 1994 by Apogee Software. A really nice shooting game. We didn't get too many shooting games like this on the PC, so it's definitely a highlight. We have Risky Woods, released in 1992 by Dynamic Software and Electronic Arts. Seems like a really well-made jump and run game. Again, this is a genre I'm not really good at, so I don't play these games too much, but well worth checking out. And here we have Rise of the Dragon. This is released in 1990 by Dynamix and Sierra Online. Also a well-known adventure game. One issue I faced has to do with startup files. So the FreeDOS, the live CD, it doesn't use the config sys and the autoexec batch files. It uses different names. And I had some issues when trying to install the drivers for my Sound Blaster. So because the Sound Blaster installer will create config sys and autoexec batch files, but those files will get ignored. So I had to copy and paste between the DOS, the MS-DOS startup files and the FreeDOS startup files. So it's a little bit messy, and I don't think this is very user-friendly. So if FreeDOS really wants to replace MS-DOS and you install some drivers for your sound card or for your mouse or for your optical disk drive, there shouldn't be any issues with the installer. Let's check out a few more games. Sam & Max Hit the Road from 1993, released by LucasArts. This is a fun point-and-click adventure game, well worth checking out. And now let's have a look at some Space Quest games. This is the very first one, all the way back in 1986 by Sierra, running without any issues. We have Space Quest 3, released in 1989, also working fine. This is Space Quest 4, Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers, released in 1991. Space Quest 5, The Next Mutation, released in 1993, also working fine. And we've got the VGA re-release of Space Quest 1, released in 1991, also without any problems. Spear of Destiny, released in 1992 by id Software, running without any dramas. This is Strike Commander, released in 1993 by Origin Systems, working fine. Here we have Stunt Island. Now this is a really interesting game, released in 1992 by the Assembly Line and Walt Disney Computer Software. So this is, I don't know how to describe this game. It's sort of a flight sim action game, but you also have to edit movies. So very interesting. Stunts, of course. 4D Sports Driving is the alternate name, released in 1990 by Distinctive Software. Well, this is a big hit and running without any problems. Here we have Summer Challenge by Accolade, released in 1992. Such games, there are not too many sports games for DOS. At least that's my understanding. I saw a lot more on the home computers. The graphics are really well done. This is Syndicate Plus, a very well-known game. Didn't play this one too much, but it got really good reviews back in the day. After installing FreeDOS, we're getting a boot menu with various options, and this has to do with some of the memory requirements. The default option works with most games, but quite a few games demand EMS, so there's an option that you can choose for this one. I got most games going, but there was one title that didn't launch. That is Ultima 7, which is famous for being picky with the memory. It complains about not having enough memory. It does work fine under MS-DOS 6.22, with my DOS starter pack. Just choose the conventional memory option and off you go. Tetris Classic from 1992 by Spectrum Holobyte. Now this game, I like using it for sound card testing because it supports a wide range of sound cards. Test Drive 2, The Duel from 1989. Well, this game does not launch, just a black screen. It does work on the MS-DOS 6.22. Here we have some footage. Test Drive 3, The Passion, released in 1990 by Accolade, also working fine. This is TIE Fighter from 1994 by LucasArts, a big hit, running without any problems. Here we have Terminal Velocity 1995 by Terminal Reality and 3D Realms. A really nice looking game. From a technical aspect, it supports low and high resolution, and it was one of the games to showcase the power of your brand new Pentium system. The Dagger of Amon-Ra from 1992. This is a fun point-and-click adventure game. If you haven't played it yet, do give it a go. And another adventure game, The Legend of Curandia, 1992 by Westwood Studios. Ultima Underworld also ran without any issues. This is the first title, released in 1992 by Blue Sky Productions and Origin Systems. And the second title also works fine. It was released a year later in 1993 by Looking Glass Studios and Origin Systems. And here we have some footage of Ultima 7, The Black Gate, released in 1992. This is footage under MS-DOS because under FreeDOS it wouldn't work. The Adventures of Willy Beamish, released in 1991 by Dynamics and Sierra Online. That's a nice looking game. I remember buying this actually back in the day, but I never completed it. I found the puzzles to be not that great, to be honest. Let's have a look at Wing Commander, the first title released in 1990 by Origin Systems, running fine. Also Wing Commander 2, Vengeance of the Kilrathi, released in 1991, also working fine. And here we have Winter Challenge, 1991 by Accolade, another sports game. Those games are quite rare on the PC, so I always like checking it out, and the graphics are really nice. Wolfenstein 3D, well, we have to test this one, released in 1992 by id Software, Apogee Software, a well-known game. Xenon 2 Mega Blast from the Bitmap Brothers, released in 1989. Well, we only get the PC speaker sound, so it's a huge downgrade compared to what we get on the Amiga. And this is Sunny Golf from 1988 by Sandcastle and Electronic Arts. This is another game our computing teacher let us play at the end of lessons in primary school, so I have fond memories of this one. So all the games I've tested up to this point are disc-based games. Let's check out a few games that come on CD-ROM. The first one is Crusader No Remorse, 1995 by Origin Systems. High resolution graphics and really impressive digital music. Runs great without any problems. Day of the Tentacle, released in 1993 by LucasArts. Another really awesome point-and-click adventure game. Descent 2, released in 1996 by Parallax Software, now supporting high-resolution graphics, and later some of the early 3D accelerator chips would get patches as well. Mission Critical is an adventure game by Legend Entertainment, released in 1995. Comes on a bunch of CDs, so it's quite a huge game. It's similar to Myst, but more with a sci-fi setting. Haven't played it yet, but I do want to check it out. Need for Speed. This is the special edition from 1995 by Electronic Arts and Pioneer Productions. Amazing graphics. I played this game a lot back in the day. Really, I have good memories of this one and also worked without any problems. We have more racing games. This is Screamer 2, released in 1996 by Milestone. No issues to report. I played at high resolution VGA and the processor is a little bit too slow, you can see by the choppy footage. The same goes for Screamer Rally, released a year later in 1997, also by Milestone. Another good looking racing game on the PC. This is System Shock, the CD version, released in 1994 by Looking Glass technologies. This is a fantastic game. Back in the day, I played the regular VGA version, and then later you could pick up this one. It supported high resolution graphics, but also digital speech throughout, which really improved the atmosphere of this game. Here we have the 11th Hour. This is the sequel to the 7th Guest from 1995. A good game to test your optical drive by Trilobyte and running fine. Of course, we have to test Tomb Raider, released in 1996 by Core Design. On the PC, in my opinion, a superior experience compared to the PlayStation. The graphics are high resolution. It just looks nicer. Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger, released in 1994 by Origin Systems, worked fine, and so did Wing Commander 4, The Price of Freedom, released in 1996, also by Origin Systems. Both games, high resolution graphics, and to this day, definitely worth checking out. So guys, what are my thoughts? Well, in terms of compatibility, the conclusion is the same as with the previous version. Most games will work, but not all of them. MS-DOS is still the gold standard when it comes to compatibility. It's a little bit of a shame that some games that are well known and well documented to not work on the FreeDOS are still causing issues and haven't been addressed. Test Drive 2, for example, is a well-known title, and it's part of most game packs that you can download online. So I'm not quite sure why this one is not getting any attention. I hope in the next release we can report something positive on this one. And also note that all the games I've tested here in this video are really mainstream games. They are not any unknown games from foreign countries that might be a little bit obscure. I'm sure if you venture outside of AAA games and from the mainstream games, we will find more issues. The installation process definitely needs an overhaul. A partition program similar to what we have with Super F-Disk, and being able to choose specific components. I think that is not too hard to pull off, something with a nice graphical user interface. So this is an aspect I want to see improved in the next version of FreeDOS. So for me, when it comes to testing DOS games on the channel, I will stick with MS-DOS. It's sort of, I don't care where. I know it's not sold anymore and you're not meant to just download it, but Microsoft, I really don't think they care too much if you're using MS-DOS. I think they actually enjoy seeing people still use MS-DOS and playing these games. So that's from my perspective, but what are your thoughts? Where do you stand with FreeDOS for gaming instead of using MS-DOS? Share your experiences down below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. It took me quite a while to test all these games and capture everything, put it together in a video, but it's well worth it. I do appreciate the work that goes into FreeDOS. It's a nice alternative, although for me the compatibility is still not there. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Leave them down below, and thank you for watching. I shall see you soon with another one.